Hello everyone, you're watching Prime News and I'm Ricky Sharma along with you. This episode is very, very special for me and for you all out there watching this special episode. You know why? Because we have a very special band along with us. Without delay, I'd like to welcome Hoobastank on Prime News. Welcome to Prime News. How does it feel?
It feels great, and you're doing great, man. You look great, you sound great. This is great.
I just told you a short while back that I'm really nervous, and is this just to cool me down a little bit to break the ice?
No, you're doing really good. I had no idea that you were nervous, and I'm probably more nervous than you.
Okay, that's so sweet of you. Well, first of all, how does it feel being here in the Northeast?
It's a little surreal.
Okay.
I've had to kind of remind myself where I am because it seems so exotic and so unlike any place we've been ever, and we've been to a lot of places.
Okay.
So it's really special.
And you've been to the museum just a short while before coming here, and you saw the culture of Meghalaya. Your thoughts on that?
It was fascinating. It was
Okay.
really fascinating. I mean, I literally knew nothing about the region, about the culture, that it was broken up into different tribes and stuff like that. So it was very interesting. I'm going to leave India a smarter person.
Okay, okay. And of course, our viewers would like to know that how did this entire thing happen? Like you coming to the Northeast, how did this entire plan sort out? You know, the entire thing. How did it happen?
I mean, it's pretty simple. As a band, we'll get offers from different promoters and different people.
Mm-hmm.
Some make sense, some don't. And I believe Dan heard the offer first and kind of told us, "Hey, you guys want to go play a show in India?"
Mm-hmm.
And without knowing anything more than that,
Okay.
we were like, "Yes, sure, let's go." And as more details came out, it became even cooler. You know,
Okay.
the area,
Mm-hmm.
the cause, everything. It's
Okay.
it's awesome.
And to ask you in this particular interview as to how your journey has been over the last 20 years will be a little something which you can't answer in very short, but then the viewers who are watching, they'd like to know that ever since you started long time back in 1994, it's 2013 now, it's nearly 2 decades. How's the journey been and how did it all start off?
Chris, you're part of this journey.
Okay.
You want to know from the beginning how it started?
Anything.
This is a very all right. Well, those two started playing music still in high school.
No, we were right out of high school. I was right out of high school, and Doug and I began playing music together.
Okay.
And we met Chris in probably 1994
Yeah.
when we first started playing with Chris. That's just kind of when it started. And sometimes when I think back, I was recently speaking to somebody about this, and I think back to how we sounded back then and what we were, the music that we were making, and I'm just blown away that our parents didn't just have like a heart attack, that we kept it going. I can't believe that we kept it going.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I listen back to some of that early stuff, I'm just like, we were nuts. What were we thinking, like, to do this and think that we had a shot at anything?
Okay. So
But-
then things turned out later on to be really good.
Years later, I mean, we were a band for what, 5 years before we
Yeah.
5 years before we had ever, had a record deal, before we got approached by record companies. So then we finally signed a record contract in 2000, and since then have been making albums and records and touring the world and meeting people, and that's been it, man. It's just been a crazy
And the rest is history. People know all about it. Well, there's a perception out here in India that, especially in middle-class families, sons and daughters, their parents, they push them for studies, and they have this entire concept that you've either got to be a doctor, you've got to complete your academics, and if at all there's a boy or a girl in a particular family, not all, of course not all, but then if there's a boy or a girl in a particular family who's interested in music, they are like, what are you going to do with your career? How are you going to earn a living? Your bread and butter. What would be your message to all those people?
Jesse, do you have a message? I don't know about my message.
First, I would say that's exactly the same way it is back in the States too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly the same. In
Yeah.
the States.
So your parents, what was their reaction?
My parents were very supportive.
Okay.
Actually, as everybody's parents were supportive, surprisingly. I mean, what else? honestly,
yeah,
there's nothing
advice-wise,
else that I was interested in.
I have a hard time telling anybody who wants to be a musician
Mm-hmm.
to not be a musician. You know, like how am I going to tell somebody that? I know that statistically the odds are against
Mm-hmm.
somebody making a living, you
Mhm.
know, or becoming a professional musician. I know that statistically we have beaten the odds by sheer luck or whatever, you know, but we were lucky enough to do it. And I would just say, whether it's music or anything, that find what it is you're passionate about. If it's being a doctor, then you should go all out to be a doctor. But if it's to be a musician and that's what makes you happy, then give it a shot. Because if you can somehow make a living doing what you love to do, you never work a day in your life.
Well, there have been a number of members in your bands who've come in and they've gone out. Well, as far as that particular, for a layman, how does that thing happen actually? Does that always end on a sweet note, or do things turn out to be bitter at times?
It's a little bit of both.
Okay.
I think, going back even prior to our record deal, that we used to have a couple guys who played horns in the band, like saxophone.
Mm-hmm.
And even just parting ways with them was very difficult. And somehow I always have to be the one to say it. So if I ever want to talk to anybody, like in a silent room, you know, it's not a bad thing.
Me and Dan fired our first man.
Yeah, whatever.
So don't act like you're pulling all the weight there, 'cause you're not.
That was difficult.
That was hard.
Yeah, it's difficult, and we've been fortunate enough to actually maintain friendship with most of the people that
Okay.
it's not like a ton of people have, like, it's not like a revolving door I've gone through. There's only been a few, but yeah, it's never easy. It's not like something you set out to do. You want everything to work harmoniously and to everybody to live happily ever after, but sometimes personalities and tastes and all that kind of thing dictate differently. So
Okay. You've been to Afghanistan when American troops were there. How was that experience?
it was Iraq.
Iraq. I beg your pardon.
Iraq. It actually, I was just talking about this with Jesse. We've done a lot of shows on different military bases around the world, but we did about 2 weeks or maybe 10 days in Kuwait and Iraq 2.5 years ago.
Doesn't that scare? Did that scare you? The thought that you'll be there?
A little bit,
Okay.
because we had to sign away this thing saying that if we got killed, like
They're not responsible.
we're cool, yeah, like, and we had to get sized up for body armor and helmets and stuff like
Exactly.
that. So it was a little bit. We were a little bit apprehensive, but not. Obviously, we still went, and I was just telling him it was a great time. I mean, not like a party, but as far as life experiences go, it was amazing. It was amazing.
And the fact that we just now had this press conference where there are a number of people who sum up the band Hoobastank for just one number, and that is the reason. What feelings do come to your mind when that this question crops up, because you have come up with so many albums, there have been so many numbers that you have made, but then when people just brand you with just one song, is that a good feeling, or it
It's a little.
pisses you off at times?
Yes, a little bit of both. It doesn't piss me off now, like when they ask, but I guess immediately I start to think, well, how many bands would give their right arm to have that one song that everybody knows them for,
Exactly.
instead of having albums or never even having the opportunity. So it's a double-edged sword. Like I said, at one time, in one aspect, it's awesome because it gives us the opportunity to be here. If that song wasn't as big, maybe we won't be here. I think it opens doors. The fans that only know that song kind of come and go,
Okay.
and sometimes you get more people to be lifelong fans.
So now, 20 years down the line, it's okay for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's what am I supposed to do?
Exactly. Exactly.
What are we supposed to do? Exactly.
Exactly.
Not play if people want to hear the song?
Okay. Well, Indians have a perception about Americans. What comes to your mind when you first think about India? The fact that you mentioned that you were really excited when you got the mail that you've got to perform in India.
I mean, not to be so stereotypical, but obviously the Taj Mahal is the first thing that pops into my head.
Okay.
You know,
Anything else?
heat.
heat.
Yes.
I couldn't wait to run down to the local Indian restaurant that me and Chris always go to and eat and go tell all those guys that I was coming here.
You know what? Actually, food. Yes.
But I really
love
did that. I
Indian
ran
food,
down
yeah.
to the restaurant that I go to, and I was like, "Guess where I'm going? I'm going to India." And I showed them on the map where I was going. And they were so excited for me.
Yeah.
Okay. And Indian girls?
I don't know much about Indian girls.
We have had Miss Worlds and Miss Universes from our country.
I don't follow Miss World or Miss Universe.
But then, as far as a fan following from the girls are concerned, when you started off as a band, what was it like? How did you handle that?
There's chicks everywhere.
There's so many girls that it's really hard to handle, but you know, you just handle it like a man. And the world keeps on spinning.
Okay. And what's the scenario now?
Now there's still
This is the
some.
scenario now.
Now there's
Yeah.
still too many girls, but it's just for me and Jesse because Doug and Chris are married.
Okay.
So
So the ratio has gone down.
no, it's actually gone up because
Because there's two guys taken out of the equation. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's really well. We've had a lot of talk with you. We'll head into a short commercial break now. When we come back, we'll listen into the song.
Which
The
one?
reason.
Oh, you sure?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay. But then that'll be after this break.
let's do it.
Okay. We'll head into a short break now. When we come back, we have lots more to talk about.